Alright guys, next thing we need in our tackle box here is we need to do the timers now. So let's open up our basic setup here. So we'll set this guy up here, and we know that the basic setup has our I/O configuration. Interesting, I had this guy gone before, but it must have saved under a different name. Okay, so everything's set up with the basic setup here, so that means that my I/O configuration is done here. So there's my MicroLogix, there's my analog, 2-channel input, 2-channel output. So let's get rid of this guy. And let's bring in our timer. So what we'll do is we'll have an input. So we need to put in a rung here first, because again, this is our end for the end of the PLC program. So we'll drop in a rung here. So we'll highlight this rung here, drop a rung in, put an input in. There we go. And then the timers are found in two places. So you can open up this file folder right here, and then let's see what timers we have. We have an on delay timer, an off delay timer, and we've got a retentive on delay timer. Okay, so those are our three timers that we can make use of. What's this guy over here? Real-time clock adjust. No, so on delay, off delay, and the retentive timer that we can use for now. They're found there in this file folder, or you can go down here, and if you've got this window open on the left-hand side, you can go to T4, and in T4 it has all of our timers there. So as you start putting in more and more timers, they will start to come in here, but you have to actually input the timer into your program first, and then you'll see the rest of the timers available in the T4 unit on the left hand side. Okay, so what we'll do is let's grab the on delay timer for now. So again, I'm going to highlight the rung here. I'm going to drop in an on delay timer. Now it's put it onto the left hand side, and the PLC is not going to like that whatsoever. It wants to be over here on the right hand side. So we're going to place this in the same spot as we're going to place an output. Okay, so I'm going to put my first input. So I'm actually going to use my my start push button. So that'll open up my I/O table here. And where do I have my start? Right there. So I use the forward push button right there, and I'll just rename it as the start. There we go. Beautiful. And this guy is already set as an on delay timer, and we are going to name this guy. So we're going to name it T4:0 and hit enter. Then we can call this timer 0. So again, the symbol here is where you're actually going to put your name in. Beautiful. Okay, now the time base. It looks like we have 1.01 and then 0.001. These guys are in seconds, so I'm going to keep it in seconds here. And the last thing I'm going to put in is the preset. So let's go for a preset of 5 seconds. Okay, once all those values are in, and I highlight something else on the rung, then let's go back to T4 and see whether those values just came into my data table. Okay, so we can see here that, let's see, we don't have that coming in yet. So how is that going to come into the T4? Why don't we check the program first? So let's verify the project. Okay, it says verified is complete, no errors are found. And now let's open up our T4. Ah, yes, there we go. So let's get this guy a little bit bigger here. So prior to checking the program, nothing came in. So each time that you add additional timers in, so just for giggles, let's add in another timer here. So we have to go back to user, and we'll drop in a rung here. Then we'll go to timer. We'll just grab another guy here. And for giggles, we'll put in another timer. We'll keep the time base at 1, and let's just do some random value of 55 seconds for the preset. if I go back to the T4 and open it up, the first timer's there. The second one still hasn't come in. So again, you have to verify your project. Once you have verified the project, then that next timer should be available for you. There we go. So T4-1, and we have a time base of 1 second and the preset of 55. Beautiful. Okay, so those guys are not going to be available until you verify your project. Okay, let's get rid of this rung here. And there's a number of different bits that we can look at for each of the timers. All right, so what bits can we use from this timer? Well, usually with the timer there is a coil, and when you energize the coil, you kind of enable the coil. So what I want you to do is think of this enable as the coil. So whenever the timer is rung as true, then you're going to energize the timer. When you energize the timer, it's essentially the same as energizing the coil. So the enable is going to be the coil. So we need another rung here. And let's go back to user, drop in a rung, and we're going to look at that bit, and then we're going to fire on an indicator light for the enable bit. Now, can we grab that right from here? Let's see, can we grab that? No, that just takes the entire timer. That's no good. Okay, so let's go over here to T4, and we'll bring this bad boy down. Okay, and so we're going to look at the enable bit. Before I bring that up, though, I'm going to look at a number of other bits. I'm going to look at the TT bit, and I'm going to look at the done bit. So before I start addressing everything, let's copy. Come on, copy. No. Copy. There we go. A little bit slow today. Paste. Copy. And a paste. Gorgeous. Okay, so now we can look at our timer here. So we've got the enable bit. Drop that guy in there. And we'll have the TT bit. Now the enable bit we're going to think of as the coil. The TT bit would be like something that just wouldn't exist on a normal timer. So TT stands for, you ready for it? Timer timing. So while the timer is timing, there is a bit that will change from a 0 to a 1. We'll drop that bad boy in here. There we go. And let's look at, we have the coil and then we have contacts, right? We have normally open and normally closed contacts. Well, these guys right here, the done bit, which is right here, the done bit I want you to think of as the contacts, because the done bit will not change with this on delay timer until the accumulated is equal to our preset value. Our preset value is equal to 5. So when the accumulated gets to 5, then the done bit's going to set, or the done bit's going to fire on, going from a 0 to a 1. So let's grab this bad boy, and let's drop it in. There we go. Okay, and then we'll just have those guys fire on some outputs. So let me pause here because I gotta keep a list of my outputs. I should need an input-output data table in front of me. Hang on. All right, my lights are on 6, 7, and 8. So let's grab the output here. And let's grab output 6. Drop it in here. Output 7. And output 8. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so 6 is going to be my done bit. 7 is going to be the TT. Excellent. And then this guy right here is going to be my, oh, sorry, dyslexia is kicking in. This guy is my enable bit, TT, and then this guy right here. Let's go to the output data table one more time, and let's grab number 8, and 8 is going to be the done bit. Excellent. All right. So what we'll do is we'll go online now and we'll take a look at the timer. I'll hit this push button right here, which will energize the timer. And if we think about this, by energizing the timer, we should enable the timer. So we'll have this guy fire on with our first light turning on. So as long as the timer rung is true, the enable will be on. And then as soon as it's on, it will start to time. So we have the timer timing bit, and between the point where we're between 0 and 5, the TT will be firing on. And then our done bit will set, so the TT bit will go off, right? So this will go to a 0. And then when the accumulated equals the preset, then the done bit will set and this light will turn on. All right, let's take a look at that. All right, guys, so let's go online here. So we'll go up here to this menu. We're going to go to download. Hit OK a couple times here. There we go. So we can see here that we're in the run mode here. And so the indicator lights that I'm turning on are these guys right here. So this one here is going to be my enable bit. This one's my TT bit. This guy is my done. And then you can also view the PLC right here, and you can look at the output bits firing on. So I have, let's see, output number 6 for the enable, number 7 for the TT, and number 8 for the done. All right, guys, so let's hit this push button. So the push button is just mounted above. So when I hit that push button, we should find that the enable bit turns on, the TT bit turns on while we're going from the accumulated value 0 up to the preset of 5. And then when the done bit sets, then the TT will go off and the done bit will then light up because it will be a 1. The enable will stay illuminated as long as I'm pressing the start push button. So we'll hit it in 3, 2, 1. There we go. So we can see there that the enable is on. TT is there until we get to 5. And at that point, the done bit sets. Excellent. Okay, so this is an on delay timer. So it works exactly the same as an on delay in that if I let go of the input there, then I will turn off the power going to the timer, and that should then turn off my enable bit. And the done bit should go off as well because the accumulated value will go right to 0. This is not a retentive timer. So as soon as we lose this input right here, then we'll find that the enable goes off and the done bit goes off as well. Beautiful. So everything goes off. Okay, so let's look at that one more time, and then we'll look at the off delay timer, guys. So we're going to hit the input, and the coil would turn on, the TT bit would turn on, but it hasn't changed state, so the done bit hasn't set yet. There's our enable and our TT climbing up to the preset of 5, and at that point our TT goes out and the done bit sets. Excellent. So most of the time you're not going to be using the TT bit. You can use it for some applications, but you're mostly going to be using the done bit because that's the same as your time contacts. I will now take away this input here in line with the timer, and similar to any on delay timer, once we take away the power, everything goes out. Beautiful. All right, guys, let's take a look at the off delay timer now. All right, guys, so let's switch this out for a TOF timer or an off delay timer. So I don't believe you can do that on the fly. Like if we change this here to TOF, it doesn't hold. So we've got to go, it looks like we've got to go offline here. And once we're offline, let's see if we can right click on this guy. And let's go to change instruction type. And let's see if we can change that to a TOF timer. Beautiful. So what I did there was I right clicked on there. I went down here to change instruction type. And then once I did that, then I was able to change it from an on to an off delay. So it's still in the same label, right? So it's T4:0, but now it's changed from an on delay to an off delay timer. If we go to our timer database here, then we can see here that all the values are still the same, right? Enable TT and done bit are still available. The time base is 1 second, the preset is 5, and obviously the accumulated is 0. So let's take a look at this guy. So we'll download this now because we've changed the program. Okay, so we're in the run mode now. And again, we're going to have this one as the enable. So this is our enable. this is our TT, and this is our done bit. So let's see if we can walk through, before we start this up, what's going to happen with each of these guys. So when we hit this start push button, then that will enable the timer, so the enable bit will set. But at that point, nothing, what else will change? The done bit will change, right? Because it's an off delay timer, so the contacts change right away, right? Because it changes state and it takes some time to go back to its rest state. So we should find that the first light here, the enable bit sets, and we should find that the done bit sets right away. And then when we go from true to false, right, when this goes back to a 0, then we'll find that the timer starts timing out. So the enable will then turn off, the timer will turn on, and the done bit will only change back to a 0 once the TT has finished. So once the accumulated has equaled the preset, then finally the done bit will go off. Okay, so let's take a look, guys. I'm now going to hit the input here in line with the off delay timer, and again we should find that the enable bit sets first and the done bit as well. Beautiful, there we go. So enable and our done bit have set. Nothing's changing here on our accumulated value because it's an off delay, so we actually have to turn the timer off, right? So we've energized it, now we have to de-energize it. When we de-energize it, you will find that the enable bit goes off, the TT bit goes on, and the done bit stays on. Okay, so in 3, 2, 1, there we go. So it's now timing out. You can see that the accumulated value is going up, and then when it's done, then everything's done. It's stopped timing, and the done bit is the relay contacts. So the relay contacts have reverted back to their rest state. Okay, one more time with the off delay. I'm now going to press the push button. I'm going to enable the timer, and the done bit will set at the same time. Nothing else happens until I de-energize the timer by making this start push button a 0. Once I do that, then the enable bit is going to go off, the TT and the done bit will stay on, and they will stay on for those 5 seconds as the timer times out. Okay, enable goes out, timing up to 5, and at 5 the TT and the done bit both go out. Excellent. So that covers our off delay timer. We have one more. We have the retentive timer to follow up on. Okay, so just to finish up here, guys, we'll do that. I've gone offline here, and we'll change this guy to the last timer. Going here to the timers, we have the on delay timer. Whoops, easy now. Where's that one where it says don't do that? There we go. Okay, so we have an on delay timer, an off delay timer. Last one is the on delay retentive timer. Okay, so, and again, in order to change that, I can grab that RTO and drop it down. But if I just want to change the instruction type, I can right click, change instruction type here, and then I can type in RTO, and there we go. We have retentive timer on. Okay, again, still the same address, T40, time base is 1 second, and the preset is 5. Okay, let's download this guy and take a look at it. Okay, so we're in the run mode now. So this one's an on delay timer. So I'm thinking that when we press this push button here and energize this timer, I'm thinking that the enable is going to turn on just the same as an on delay timer. And what else? And the TT bit is going to start to increment as well, right? So the TT bit will set and the accumulated value will go up. Now this is a retentive timer, so we should find that it runs exactly the same as an on delay timer. So I'm going to run it full for the on delay timer, and then we'll see what happens to the accumulated value. Okay, so we'll run it the full way up to 5, and then I'll stop it, and then I'll stop it halfway through, and we'll see if it retains the value. So hitting the push button right now for the start in 3, 2, 1. There we go. So the enable and the TT bit set, just like an on delay timer. And then at 5, the done bit sets. Excellent. Okay, now I'm going to let go of the start push button. And we'll find that this is no longer true. Oh, look at that. So it goes to, it doesn't go down to 0. It stays at 5. So, and there's no way to bring it back to 0. So it looks like we need a new instruction. We need some way to reset that timer value, right? Because it's stuck at 5. I mean, I could go offline and then go back online, and that would probably kick it out. But it looks like we need another instruction for to reset that value. So let's go offline, and let's add in another rung here. Okay, so we'll add in another rung here. We'll go over to user, add a rung, and then we'll have a reset push button, and that will go to this guy right here. Now let's go to the timer back here, and because if we look at user, the only outputs that I have here is output energize, output latch, and output unlatch. Well, I'm looking for something that resets. Well, it's most likely in here with the timers, right? On delay, off delay, RTO, count up, count down, reset. Let's grab this guy. So I'm left clicking on here, bringing it down until I see green, and then we're ready to rock. So this guy right here, I'm going to need another input aside from my start push button. So let's see, I'll grab this guy and I'll bring it down here until I see green. Now that was my reverse push button, but let me change the label on that guy. So that is now my reset push button, normally open. Okay, and then what are we going to reset? Well, we're going to reset the entire thing. There we go. Okay, so I believe we can just reset the accumulated value, but I'm just going to reset the entire timer. Okay, let's see if that works. So we'll close this guy up. Let's go over here and verify our project. Okay, looks good. There doesn't seem to be any errors right now. Let's download that bad boy and take a look. Okay, so once we went offline, we can see now that the accumulated value has gone back down to 0. So now hitting the input here to the on delay timer, we'll find the enable bit sets, the TT bit sets, while the accumulated value is incrementing. But I'm going to stop at a count of 2 and we'll see what happens. Pressing the button now, 1, 2, let it go, and it retains that value. Okay, so it's an on delay timer that retains the actual value. Okay, as soon as we let go of that push button, then the done bit goes right back to its rest state. Okay, we'll keep going up to 5, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. At that point, I'm going to let go of the push button. The accumulated and the preset are equal, so the done bit has just set. I have let go of my push button, so the coil has not been energized now, so this has dropped out for the enable. It's no longer timing, but the contacts have changed state. Now, this is cool because it retains that value, right? And when the preset equals the accumulated value, then the done bit sets. It changes to a 1. Let's open up that timer file. You can see these values change real time as it's timing out there. So we can see here that the done bit is still set. So let's hit this other push button here, and we'll see whether we can reset our timer. So we should find that this value goes to 0, and in the accumulated value right here, this will also go to a 0 real time when we hit our reset button. Okay, so hitting it in 3, 2, 1. There's my reset button, and it looks like right there the accumulated value went right back down to 0. Excellent. So we'll do it one more time. You can watch these bits change state as the same point as these lights are changing that correspond to those bits. So again, on delay timer, hitting the push button, enable turns on, the TT turns on, and then when it gets to 5, both the TT goes out and the done bit sets. Then when I let go of the push button, then the enable will go out. Excellent. The accumulated and the preset are still at 5, are still equal, so the done bit is a 1, and the only way to change that is by placing a reset input. I'm using a push button, could be anything that you're using. There is an input there in order to reset your timer. So I'm pressing it now, and it goes down to 0. All right, guys, that's pretty good. That covers our on delay timer, or the TON, the off delay timer, which is the TOF, and then finally the retentive on delay timer for our RS Logix 500. Thanks for your patience, guys. We'll see you on the next video.